Ever noticed how almost everyone claims they're a car person, but when it comes to actually knowing what they're talking about, it's like they're reading from a script? It's this weird phenomenon where everyone throws around terms like chassis code, production run, and torque specs. But when you ask them to explain, they can't even define basic concepts. It's like being at a car show and hearing someone confidently say, "Yeah, I swapped my LS3 for an LS7. That's a 7-liter engine. How did you even fit that in there?" And you're just left wondering, wait, do you even understand what engine displacement means? Or is this just another flex? If you've ever been in that position, you're not alone. Hi, I'm Shmei, and welcome to Displacement, where we focus on the real specs, not the size myths. Let's set the record straight about something that seems obvious to some people but is actually widely misunderstood. Engine displacement isn't about how physically large your engine is. It's about the volume the pistons move inside the cylinders. And if you're thinking, well, duh, you're probably among the few who get it. But for a lot of people, that's not immediately clear. I remember back when I was a kid, I thought that if a car had a 5-liter engine, the engine block would be roughly the size of 2 2-liter soda bottles stacked on top of each other. And then when I heard about the Dodge Viper having an 8-liter engine, I figured it was like 4 2-liter bottles, right? I wasn't alone in this. It's a common misconception. But once I got to high school and started diving into the world of car mechanics, I realized, and this is key, engine size or displacement is all about the volume the pistons move inside the cylinders. It's simple geometry, a lot more straightforward than people realize. If you remember your high school geometry class, you probably recall the formula for the volume of a cylinder. Let's walk through it. Engine displacement is calculated by measuring how far the piston travels inside the cylinder. This is called the stroke. But the stroke is only part of the equation. We also need to know how wide the cylinder is. That's known as the bore. Let's take the BMW S65 engine from the E90 M3 as an example. It's a 4-liter V8. But when you hear per liter, it doesn't mean the engine block itself takes up exactly 4 liters of space. If it did, you could just put a 4-liter bottle of soda under your hood. But we both know that's not how it works. To explain this better, think of it this way. Engine displacement is a measure of the total volume that the pistons in all cylinders displace. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, isn't it the size of the engine block? Nope. The size of the engine block and the engine displacement are two different things. Take the BMW S65 V8 again. The bore is 92 millimeters, and the stroke is 75.2 millimeters. If you recall, the formula for the volume of a cylinder is volume equals pi r superscript 2h, where r is the radius of the cylinder, half of the bore, and h is the height of the cylinder, the stroke. When we plug in the numbers for the S65, radius, r, equals 92 millimeters / 2 equals 46 millimeters height, h equals 75.2 millimeters using the formula, we calculate the volume of each cylinder to be about 499 cubic centimeters. Multiply that by 8, since it's an 8-cylinder engine, and we get 3,999 cubic centimeters, which rounds up to 4 liters. This isn't just a BMW thing either. It's the same across the industry. Take Ford's Coyote engine in the Mustang. It's technically a 4.9-liter engine, but they round it up to a 5.0 for marketing reasons. Why? Because it just sounds better. Numbers like 5.0 roll off the tongue and have a certain prestige to them. Who wouldn't want a 5.0 LV8 under the hood? But it doesn't stop there. Manufacturers are known for rounding numbers. Mercedes does the same with their C63 AMG. Technically, it's a 6.208-liter engine, but they round it to 6.3 for that smooth, rounded number. Does it really make a difference? Not at all. But marketing loves the simplicity of numbers that sound right. And let's be real, C63 just sounds more aggressive than C62, doesn't it? But here's where it gets really interesting. Displacement doesn't necessarily correlate with the physical size of the engine. You could have a 7-liter V8, but it doesn't necessarily take up more space under the hood than a 5-liter V8. How is that possible? Because the displacement only measures the volume the pistons move inside the cylinders. The rest, like the overall size of the engine, is a product of engineering choices. Now, I can hear some of you asking, okay, so what determines the physical size of the engine then? Is it just the displacement? Or is there more to it? So, here's the next big piece of the puzzle. The physical size of an engine is heavily influenced by the valve train and the overall design philosophy behind the engine. This is crucial if you're considering an engine swap or a build. The valve train, how the engine controls the intake and exhaust valves, plays a major role in determining how much space an engine takes up. Let's talk about the LS engine family, one of the most beloved and swapped engines in the car world. The LS series, like the LS3 or LS7, is a compact engine because it uses a pushrod design. The pushrod layout places the camshaft lower in the engine, inside the V of the engine block. This makes it possible to build a more compact, smaller engine. Because of this, LS engines are super popular for swaps, not just because they're affordable and make power, but because they fit in a wide variety of vehicles. Now compare that to the Ford Coyote engine. The Coyote is a dual overhead cam, DOHC, engine, meaning it has 2 camshafts per cylinder head. This configuration makes the engine physically taller and wider because of the additional components involved. The DOHC layout is more modern and allows for better control of valve timing, which helps the engine make more power at higher RPMs. But this also means the engine is more complicated and, frankly, bulkier than an LS. So why are so many people swapping LS engines? Simple. They're compact, relatively cheap, and there's an enormous aftermarket support network for them. The Coyote, on the other hand, while a more advanced engine with a higher potential output, is harder to fit into smaller cars. You'll see a lot of LS engines swapped into Miatas, for example, because the LS compact design allows it to fit in there with a little room to spare. But the Coyote? Not so much. It's not that the Coyote is inferior, it's just built differently. But if you're doing a swap, you need to consider the trade-offs. The Coyote engine might give you more power, but it also takes up a lot more space and requires more modification to fit. An LS swap into a small car? Classic, effective, and not as much work. But here's the truth. It's not all about power numbers. Sometimes, an engine swap is about engineering the right fit for your car. Sure, a Coyote engine in a 1970 Mustang might be the dream, but an LS swap into a classic 240Z can make your project a bit more budget-friendly and a lot more doable. So, let's wrap it all up. Engine displacement? It's a measure of how much air and fuel the cylinders can burn in a single cycle. But when people talk about engine size, they're often thinking about the size of the engine bay, which is influenced by other factors like the valve train, the camshaft setup, and overall engine design. If you learned something new today, hit that like button and drop a comment below. Got any engine swap stories or thoughts on LS versus Coyote? I want to hear them. Don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with more car knowledge and deep dives into the real-world specs of the machines we love. Until next time, keep the pistons firing and the displacement running.